and yet I feel like crap almost every day, and there's nothing wrong with me! Hello, Frog fans. We are back. Back in the painting. In the painting. English. English. I do not speak it. I guess I could have messed that up a lot more. I not speaks English goodly. That's better. And English is the only language I speak, so that's my life. How are you? Is this even the color I want to use right now? Well, it is now. Going on autopilot? You know what I meant. If you don't, well, that's your fault. That sounds like a you problem. Why aren't you full? Why? Nothing can just be simple, can it? Well, I was about to shake this, so you don't have to shake paint thinner. I need more paint thinner. But I don't want to go anywhere. You see, one thing that COVID has really done for, COVID has done something good for all of us antisocial, depressed people. It's done one good thing, and that is it's given us an excuse to not want to leave the house, which I guess isn't a good thing, because I know, in the back of my mind, I know that that's not helping me, but at the same time, that's what you want to do, and what you want to do isn't always the healthy thing for you, but now with COVID, it's like, I still don't want to leave the house, but now, there's a reason, a respectable reason, to not want to leave the house. I never had a reason before, other than I'm antisocial and afraid of the weather. I'm not afraid of the weather, I just don't like it. Although sometimes in Canada, it can get scary. Like the get in there! I'm hanging by a thread. There we go. I'm gonna have to force myself to take a trip to Michael's soon, which I think is open now. Like, it was always open for curbside pickup, but curbside pickup is difficult for me because I don't have a car. Like, it wouldn't be so bad if it were nice weather, but most places when you do curbside pickup, you're waiting there for a while, and when it's freaking minus 30 outside, I'm gonna have to look that up. But I might just have to suck it up and do it anyways, even if it's not, because I'm almost out of paint thinner. Things are supposed to be opening back up around here, though. I just painted my finger. I say that like it's an accomplishment. Oh, little Miss Bella. Time to get another layer of paint. This is Bella, or the Tiger Lily Sculpt by Cassie Brace. And she is going to be in my personal collection when she's finished. Isn't that right? I assume it's fairly normal for people who are in the reborn hobby, especially artists, to, go and kind of stalk the kit websites, even if you're not looking for a new kit necessarily. I'm always browsing through McPherson, seeing what's new or all of that, even when I'm not looking for a new kit to paint. I just like to stay updated with what's coming out, especially from the major artists. And Cassie Brace is coming out with a bunch of new kits, assumably at some time soon-ish. There's a bunch of sneak peeks for new kits she's doing on McPherson's. And a couple of them, I think there's a couple that are on pre-order, or if not, have already come out just recently. I absolutely love her kits. Especially this little grumpy girl right here. I feel like this is the face my brain is making 3/3 of the time. 3/3 of the time. I has no English and I has no math either. Just quit while I'm behind. Has no English, has no math, has no brain. If I went to the doctor and they tried to figure out what was wrong with me, they'd send me for an MRI or whatever it is they do to look at the brain, and they'd be like, oh, well, that's the problem. You were born without a brain. All these years, we've been wondering what the hell is wrong with this kid. Finally, we realize. once in a while I wonder if, like, I should try and get, like, a full body scan just to see if there's anything actually wrong with me, because 3/3 of the time, no, like, probably about roughly 3 out of 7 days of the week, I feel like total other crap. But, you know, whenever I go to the doctor, it's like, there's nothing medically wrong with me that they can see. And it's like, oh, it's probably just depression. And I'm like, oh, great. Then, you know, you hear about, like, all these conditions that can go hidden because they don't really affect you, like high blood pressure. Apparently you can have really high blood pressure but feel completely fine, but meanwhile, like, something's actually killing you, which, you know, is scary. But I'm not afraid of that. Not really. My thing is, oh, great for them. There's these people out here who are dying, who feel completely fine, and yet I feel like crap almost every day, and there's nothing wrong with me! Well, I guess it's not great for them. They're dying. Okay. I decided to switch out the painting for some rooting, and oh, there's the needle. It was inside the head. One thing you never want to hear from a doctor. I decided to switch to some rooting, which we'll see how that goes, because I don't normally root and talk at the same time. So we're reaching a home stretch here with this one, getting very close to being finished. Why do I always have to sneeze when I turn the freaking camera on? So this is another... Today we have a theme in the video of dolls that are not going to be for sale. This is another doll that I've been working on for my personal collection. Over a year in the making. So very excited for her to be on the finish line. She would have finished a lot sooner, but I'm a slow rooter. Not to mention, I've had a lot of other things to concentrate on. So if I focused, like, on a priority of rooting her, she would have been done a lot quicker. But I had a lot of other, more pressing priorities. Come on. And then I almost left her head at our old house when we moved out. I was freaking out for a little bit. And that's in the vlog of when we moved. You know, I was so busy with everything on the morning that we were moving out that I had forgotten that I'd left this doll head, half-rooted doll head, wrapped up in a plastic bag on the floor in my room. And, you know, when we left, I was like, okay, I've got everything, so everything that's left in the room now is trash. And then at the end of the day, I was like, oh my god, I forgot the doll head! And I think I was a lot more externally calm than I actually was, because on the inside I was freaking right out. Because, you know, I left her the head in a plastic garbage bag, so easily that could have been interpreted as trash and thrown out, or had more trash put on top of it. So, lesson learned, do not store important doll parts in plastic trash bags. But thanks to my wonderful grandmother, the head was safely returned to us the next morning. This is such a painstaking process. But I generally like the look of rooted hair better. And I'm not great at painting hair. I mean, the key is to practice both, which I am. I don't know if this is all artists, but the places that I struggle most are in, like, the last few steps of putting a doll together. Well, that makes it, the very final last steps of putting a doll together are actually putting it together. What I mean is the last, like, artistic steps. Anybody can assemble a doll. In the last, you know, steps of creating a doll, that's where I struggle. The eyebrows, the eyelashes, the hair, even the varnish. I'm a little bit better with varnish now, but heat-setting varnish is a very daunting thing when you're first starting, and for quite a while after, it's still, you know, until you've really got a method down, varnish is kind of a scary thing. Especially when you encounter the crusties. And if you've ever dealt with Genesis heat-setting paint, you know what I mean by the crusties. Well, I mean, not everyone has an encounter with the crusties. And yes, I'm going to continue to say it like that. But, you know, usually before you start using a paint, you do research, and anywhere that you really research using Genesis Heat Set, it's usually talked about of how temperamental the Genesis Heat Set varnishes can be, especially matte varnish. And sometimes, if you apply it wrong, you can get these little, like, flaky, crusty bits. that hopefully you catch before you bake it, and if you don't, I've never had it after I've baked a doll. I've only ever had it after the varnish dried, and then I realized, oh, that there's a whole bunch of little crusty white things over it. It looks like the entire doll has dandruff. What happened? And they were just so hard to remove. Like, if I had baked that, I don't know if it would have been possible to get it off without wrecking the paint underneath, because you would have had to, like, sandpaper it. I do have, like, methods of varnishing that I prefer. The camera shut off. Yeah, I do have, preferred varnish methods, but I am still experimenting as well when I have a doll that's not, like, if I slightly mess this doll up, it's going to be a major loss. Definitely don't want to be experimenting with, like, a custom or a very expensive kit. You want to be sticking with the methods that you know work. That is a thick plug. Ow. Don't root yourself now, which I have done. Sounds a lot worse than it actually is. I didn't, like, the needle just pierces your skin just enough to get the hair stuck in there just a little bit. Which sounds very terrifying, but it's not that bad. It's like having a splinter, only it's hair. It's one of those things like being bit by a python. It's really not as bad as it sounds. Unless you're terrified of snakes to begin with, then it would probably be a lot worse than it sounds. It was definitely not an experience I would be eager to try again, though. I also have a video on that. So if you like stuff like watching a snake bite someone, you're in luck, because I got the bite on camera. Well, I had the initial bite when she struck at me on camera. I decided not to share it. But I do have footage of her latched on to my leg. Just kind of sitting there with her teeth in my flesh. Fun times, fun times. You see, that's when you know that you've become a YouTuber. When something happens, like your pet snake, your decently sized pet snake latches onto your leg, and your first instinct is, ooh, keep filming this. You know, when something like that happens and you don't drop the camera. Okay, well, I didn't get very much done, but in terms of rooting, that is an action. That's a decent little strip, I guess you can call it. But yeah, before this video gets too long, I love how whenever I have dolls on the rooting bucket stand thingy, whatever you want to call this, they just always look so, like, they look like they're going, what is life? It's like, what is life? Or, help! Alright, anyways, that's all for now. Keep living the frogling's life. We shall see you next time, and, yeah. Rambling. Bye.